are your host of Bubble Bath Stories, your favorite 15-minute podcast. Special guest here. Please introduce yourself.
Hello. I don't know how loud to talk, so I'm just gonna try my best. But I'm Norma Hernandez. I know Nicky and know Manny from work and from softball.
Oh, yes, yes. Many stories for that. But Norma is here to talk about her book, Blue is for Girls. I don't know if you guys can see it. And also, I have a burning question I've been dying to ask you.
Yes.
Have you heard Ariana Grande's new album?
I've only heard the songs that are on TikTok, which I think it's the
Boy
one.
is Mine.
No, yeah.
What are we thinking? How are we feeling about this?
I honestly like. It's just hard to listen.
Is it what is it? Is it too poppy or what is it?
No, because she's a
No.
home wrecking lady.
I know, but the music. How's the music?
It's hard to get past because she's a home wrecking lady.
It's actually pretty good, but it's just hard because like I don't know. It's like obviously we don't know them, but like everything that you hear in like
Yeah,
the news, it's like hard to like
yeah.
not think
She's
about that.
she's ballsy for that boy is mine thing though.
Yeah.
You're ballsy, girl. You
No, well,
ballsy.
same with that one. That the first one that she came out, she was like, why do you
Prick.
care whose dick I ride? And I was like, girl.
All right. Well, now that we got that important stuff out the way, let's talk about your book,
Yeah,
Blue
my
for
children's
Girls.
book for
Yes.
children.
Yeah. Tell us about this real quick. How did what's the story behind it? Coming
Yeah.
around it.
So what really kind of inspired me to do this was actually it was TikTok, and we were at work and we had a lot of free time, so I wanted to find like a side hustle, something that required very little work. And so I was like putting on TikTok like, oh, like what are some side hustles to generate income, like something that you don't actually have to go and do, and like it'll just make money on its own. And I saw people doing this, but the way that people advertise this was so different than my experience.
Yeah.
Side gig.
Yeah, they were like, it costs like $5 to get someone to illustrate this for you, and you could easily just put something on Chat GPT and like you'll have a story and you'll make income. And I was like, dope, that sounds cool.
And then
It was a lot. Well, here's the thing. I like if I was gonna do this, I wanted to make it special and I wanted it to mean something. So I didn't want to just spend $5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like $5 will get you one character drawn. That's it. So if like you want a book, if you want like 24 pages, it's gonna cost more money. And so I was like, okay, I'll spend the money. Like I really want to make something special and unique, and not just have something on Amazon, that like it's kind of cheapy, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of started the whole journey.
How long was the process? Like, would you say if you had to put in months or?
I would say it took like 3-4 months.
That's not bad.
Really? I felt like it took forever.
I thought you were gonna say like it took me like a year and a half. Really? That's
I guess it depends on. I guess it depends on like how you're releasing the book.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, because I did it like the most like easiest way possible for myself. I wrote the story and I had people at work to read it, so I got feedback right away.
Yeah.
And I went back and was editing. I think the thing that took longer was finding an illustrator, and Ale, like she was so helpful, and she made the process so much easier, and she just knew like the vision that I had. And so when she just presented all the characters, there were like minor little things that I changed, and I was like, this looks great.
Usually I guess they like to change animals and people in these like children's book, like sometimes like Arthur is an aardvark,
Oh right, yeah.
Did you have trouble choosing between people or animals to be in a children's book? Or were you like, no, this is gonna be about with people?
No, I think it was always going to be people. I think, I don't know, something that I've always heard is like write what you know. And so I was like, well, my favorite color is blue. So, and there's like also another story like this, very similar, for boys, or I think for everyone, but it was like centered around this boy. So I was like, okay, this is going to be for girls and it's going to be more about what I know, which is blue can be for girls.
So then like writing it and reading it, is it like Was it written like, I'm an adult now, this was told to me as a kid and I'm trying to fix it? Or is it more like, I'm an adult and I don't want people telling kids this?
Yeah, it's that one.
Yeah.
Because I was like very fortunate that my parents loved that I loved blue. Like they would paint my room blue. They would always like to this day my mom gets me like little planners and it's blue.
It's a good color.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, like, why was it so important? Because, like, he asked the questions about
Yeah.
animals and stuff like that, and you said you always wanted it to be people. Why was it so important to have Latin representation? Because this is like a big. This it seems like nothing, but this is like so prevalent in our culture, and it's so
Yeah.
genderized. Like color is genderized. So, like, why was it like so important that you have an illustrator who was also Mexican and like the characters? Why was that important to you?
Yeah. Well, like, my parents being very supportive and like didn't care about that. I did have like family members, nothing extreme like how this character was. But I mean, like even for birthdays or for things like it's always the tias getting the gifts because the uncles aren't doing anything. It's true though. The uncles are always giving you money.
That's true. That's true. I want to ask real quick, actually. Um, so there's a part in the story where she's looking for different clothes and she can't figure out what to wear. And you specifically mentioned the communion dress,
Yeah.
the white communion dress. Like, what was that about?
Because I don't know. I feel like my parents will never see this.
I mean, unless they're following us.
Like when it comes to religion, like I grew up Catholic, and I think a majority of Mexicans did too.
It's huge. It's huge. You can't get away from it.
Yeah, you're forced to do it. So like in my closet, I have my little first communion dress.
I hate that suit.
That's right, guys have to wear this. So I just thought like when I was like looking in my closet, one of the like breaks that we had, I was like, oh dang, like I still have this dress.
Why do you still have it?
Because they won't get rid of it.
Did you try it on?
Oh no, it's like it's not little girls. That's not gonna fit me. There's like so many things in there, like all my graduation like stuff.
What does the communion dress mean to you now?
I don't know. I think it was just something I had to do for my family.
I was telling her it's funny because yeah, we do, especially in Catholic culture, we do look at white as purity, but if you look at the light spectrum, is it white every color?
I thought it was, oh no, yeah.
Black is the
Black is no color. Yeah.
So then, white is it really pure? It's got everything in it, right?
Yeah, well, I guess I just wanted to like hone in on the fact that
Yeah.
she was like Mexican or someone who grew up in that kind of culture, someone I guess who could relate. Like if a little girl read this, like, oh, I have my communion dress too.
It's also, since you mentioned that we all grew up with it. I like that you include the mother's reaction as ha ha ha. Let me explain this to you, and not who the fuck is Thea Lupe?
No, for sure.
Hold on, wait. Is Thea Lupe the mom's sister, or is Thea Lupe like the Thea of the family? You know, the great aunts or whatever. You know.
Yeah, it's more of like the Thea of the family.
I fucking told you.
We were wondering because when I was reading the manuscript you sent, those were on two different pages. So the first thing I read was, hold on, let me say that. Oh yeah, I said, Jessica's mom smiled, and I thought, really, that's all she did. But I feel like the conversation probably happened in some way, you growing up, right?
Yeah, so I feel like there's so many sides of like Mexican moms. There's the like no chingues kind of mom, like, hey, get your shit together.
Yeah.
Like that's you just messed up your clean room that I just
Yeah.
cleaned this morning. But then there's also the other kind of mom, which is my mom more. Don't get me wrong, she did yell at me. She was much more of like a gentle parent, and I don't know, I think that's important to see because I feel like if you are growing up in like a household where you are getting yelled at a lot, like it's nice to see that that's like not normal, or there are other ways of like handling the situation.
Is the mom's reaction like you also telling parents, hey, don't be brash?
Yeah, yeah. No, I think like what really inspired me more about this story is when like back when I was in California, I worked at a thrift store, and like I would get my regulars, right? And there was this one lady, I don't know if she was a mom or a grandma, but she would always bring her kid, and he would always, like every time, always go for like the Barbies, the pink tutu, like all the girly stuff, right? And she would always get mad at him in front of everybody. Like, that's for girls, this, like, go get a car or something, that's for boys, but like yell at him in front of people. And I was just like, I don't know what this kid's gonna grow up and his life is gonna be, but like I hate that like we put colors associated with like gender, and it's like that's not what it has to be. Like I grew up loving the color blue, and it's like my favorite color, and I'll wear it till probably I die. Like literally, I've told people like get me blue roses.
So is the sequel gonna be like B is for beatdown, and it's just like the mom? Yeah, is it like the mom calling Tia Lupe like, don't fucking tell my kid what she can
That
or
will
can't
be
wear?
an adult's
That's
story.
is that the like more for the adults, like the parents of the kids who have to read this?
Yeah, it's that dad that doesn't care what people say to her. Like she's always just like she's always right.
The, the traditions will die with her.
Yes, yes.
um so like me growing up, I had the same issue, but not like I always wore my favorite color.
Mhm.
To me it was like I couldn't wear like with my shoes, right? I always had to have black shoes because my parents wouldn't want me wearing shoes that got stained,
Right, yeah.
you know? So now I grow up and I like wearing colorful shoes, right? And I think to myself, I should have did that when I was younger. When you were younger, what's a trend that you didn't do right? Like, what's something in your style growing up that you're like, I should not have done that?
Uh
I think it's important to know what generation you're in
oh,
to
well,
really phrase this.
I consider myself a zillennial because technically I'm Gen Z, right? I'm the beginning of Gen Z, but I'm the youngest. So
Wait, what year were you born?
I'm 97.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I grew up with
Okay,
millennials.
so you're like an older Gen Z.
Yeah.
Just accept it. You're an older Gen Z.
Well, I say zillennial.
So, like, I tried doing lugs boots when I was younger. It was my first paycheck when I was 14, and my parents said, "Okay, now you can buy your own shoes." And I picked lugs boots. I wish I didn't do that. Did you do something you wish you didn't do?
I mean, yeah, I would say even yeah, same with boots like the Uggs, cause I remember every girl had them. Every girl in California, so it was like the Ugg boots and then the short shorts and then whatever top, right? Your Aeropostale top or your Hollister top. That was the style. And so I remember like telling my mom, I really want some Ugg boots. We couldn't afford those Ugg boots. So she got me like very similar ones from like a catalog.
Like bear claws or
Like
whatever.
some from like
Yeah,
Avon or something.
Oh, that is
The boots.
And I remember one time it was like rainy, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna wear my boots.
no,
It's
no,
cold
no,
outside."
no.
And I messed those boots up so
Were
bad.
you just like riddled with guilt?
I was so sad. I was more sad. I didn't even think about getting in trouble. But then I did get in trouble.
I am a millennial, and so I feel like all the fashion during our time was just like god awful terrible. I am a part of the generation that wore blazers to the club. So like I hate everything that's coming back. I feel the way I dress now, I was born in the wrong generation. I was like, how did people let me dress like that? That is like crazy wild.
Wait, but I'm curious. Did you enjoy going to the club? Because I feel like the club scene has changed. Not that I would know because I was like a child.
First of all, Norma, offended.
did any of us actually enjoy it?
Yes, I had fun at the club. Like I was,
Like, I remember seeing my sister getting dressed up, and it was just like a totally different thing than what I do
yeah,
now. Like, I just wear jeans and my tennis
yes.
shoes, and
You Gen Zers are very more lax.
You mean the dressing up part?
yeah.
Yes,
Or like
that
also
I
everything
loved
too.
it. I loved it. That was the best part of. That was the best part of it. Getting the outfits together, getting with your boys. The whole thing about like Jersey Shore
Yeah.
when they were saying T-shirt time, bro. That like was like a thing. When they said that, everybody looked at each other like, "That's what we're gonna call it." You kidding me? We would pregame. Nobody put on. We would all have our undershirts or our white beaters. No muscles. We'd be like T-shirt time.
We're
It,
talking about the club in the library.
yeah, the club. I hated the dressing up part because I had like just entered into the heel phase of my life.
Yeah.
So like I hated it. But anytime I can get away with wearing sneakers with a dress or a skirt, I would definitely do it. I will say this. I feel like we started the backpack trend. Like we used to wear our backpacks all the time before it was like cool. And when I moved to Florida from New York, I wore sneakers with dresses and these bitches used to make fun of me like I was but now everybody's fucking dick. So like you know who you are.
People used to make fun of me for wearing snapbacks and curving my hat, but now everybody does it.
Wait, what? I've never heard that.
Oh, oh my gosh!
It's like you can't adjust it. You have to like size your head.
It was a 2000s thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like
No,
it was a thing.
it was a 2000s thing.
I want to know.
That sounds so far back. A 2000s thing.
It's like 24 years ago? No? Like 2000.
Not like 24 years ago. It was 24 years ago.
Well, we're saying 2000.
I wanted to talk about
Yeah.
what your what your Thea Lupe moment was, where you were like, why, what, like, huh?
Like in real life?
Yeah, like in real life. You put it in here because it happened, Norma.
I just think it's always gonna be the Theas who are gonna be like that.
I mean, but did you have an experience like that where you were just like, huh?
Not like that. It was totally, I don't know, it was totally different. I just like, there was something that happened to someone that I care about, and it wasn't really about like the color of your clothes or anything like that. It was more of the color of your skin. So I'm just like thinking like, well, if she could say that to us, like I can only imagine if this is like her kind of like thought process or like how she would actually think. And then I have like another aunt who we're all fighting at the moment with. But it's like the stubbornness, like the ones who just like don't want to let things go and like move on, and like doesn't matter if we're family, like they'll just say whatever they want to say.
It is interesting you say that it was a skin color thing though, because that that is nuts that it goes through the race like that where people say, well, you can't wear that because of your skin color. And I only say that because growing up, I never really dressed like my brothers did, like in an urban style. I always was kind of into tight clothes, like Aeropostale or Hurley and stuff like that. Not tight, but well fitted. But I would be around the people that I would hang out with, and they would all have baggy clothes, and I would be told you're dressing white. Yeah, but even my parents didn't like it. So it's like, well, what do you want me to be?
And those kind of, because I'm an aunt, so like those kind of aunts are like everything I don't want to be.
Yeah.
So like sometimes when I find like my nieces or nephews like say something crazy, I'm like, hold up, no, that's not. We don't.
Like we're not gonna do this.
That's not. You can have your own opinions. You're allowed to have your own opinions. You should fight for your opinions, but also like be careful about how you're throwing your opinions. And like they're
I'm
teenagers.
gonna clip this part and send it to my fam who needs to hear it.
I mean, because like right now most of them are teenagers, and it's
Right.
like that's a hard time as it is. And so like I'm not your parent. I want to be a vehicle, a vessel for you to talk to me about things that you feel like you can't talk to your parents to, which I feel like they're all fortunate where they have parents that they can talk to. But like sometimes it's also like your parents' mind is not your mind,
Mm-hmm.
and that's okay too. So like sometimes I know you're saying this because like you grew up in a situation because like they have to teach you differently. But I'm telling you in the real world, like that's not no.
Yeah.
And just like I love that they're, my sisters and their husbands have cultivated environments for all like for their kids to thrive in different ways. And so like that makes me feel happy for them because like I didn't really get that. And so I had to like find it through friends and like how I did things. And so like when I read that part about like she's like, you're supposed to be wearing this, not it. I was like, my visceral reaction was like,
Yeah, and that's why I also say like it's the Thea of the household, or like it's definitely not her sister, because I feel like if it were my sister, I would tell her like, "Hey, shut up."
What I told her that if I was the dad is over here probably thinking like, what did your sister say to my daughter? Because I'd be like, I know that wasn't my sister, but it makes sense. It's the family's Thea. She
Yeah.
probably isn't even related to anybody there. Is there something like a gender norm that you do now that anybody in your family gets on you about? Like, I don't know if it's a gender norm, but my pops gets on me about my colorful socks and shoes.
I get it a lot.
Yeah, is there something you get?
I'm sure there's something. I just probably like if I'm getting ready and I wear like a casual dress and I wear my sneakers, they're like, that's not very like doesn't look good with your outfit. Like you should wear some like flats or like some heels to go with the dress. I'm like, no, I'm comfortable. I'm gonna wear this.
Flats never looked comfortable, are
They're
they?
not, no.
They are not. Um, I think it does depend. The shoes of the dress do depend on
Oh,
where
for sure, for sure.
but
But
yeah,
it's
yeah,
the
yeah,
like change out
yeah,
of
yeah,
your
yeah.
sneakers. Like
I
sneakers aren't good.
so my dad, bless his heart, he was always like, my daughters need to walk outside like princesses, and so like that used to irritate the fuck out of me because like it takes long for women to look presentable sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
I will say it's doing household stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's doing household stuff. Like whenever I'm home, my brother's always like, "Hey, make me a sandwich." I'm
Oh,
like, "You
oh,
only ask me because I'm a girl," and he just does that to like poke my buttons because he makes me food all the time. And so like whenever they're cooking, it's like, oh, go help your mom, like go help. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'd rather go scoop out the poop outside in the backyard. Like genuinely, like
yes,
I
yes.
much prefer like
Outdoor work.
outdoor work
Yes,
than like household work.
yes.
And I don't know why, but it's just like what I prefer.
I 1000% agree with you. My whole life, I've been told, well, if you don't cook, how are you going to take care of your kids and your husband if you don't do that? And I always said, I will find a husband that knows how to cook and we'll get a maid and my kids will be fucking okay. And guess what, guys? I found a man who knows how to cook and he cleans and I'm okay.
I don't know about my brothers. I know my brothers know how to cook and clean and everything, but like I don't know something about me. I just mom and my dad raised me to sustain myself if I can't find a woman. So therefore, and I always learned like growing up that you're supposed to know how to at least cook 3 meals, like 3 actual meals, just in case. So I mean, I took all that stuff to heart. If I have to, I'll cook and clean and all that stuff. But to me, it's more like, how can people be in a messy home? Like, how do dudes wait till somebody cleans? Like, I've been in roommate situations where I was with like 4 other dudes, and it's like, you guys are really gonna wait for somebody to come in? No, this is gross.
I think what's crazy is I come from all sisters. So, like, that whole, like, mentality was really thrown. I think my sisters had to do it a lot for like my dad and stuff, but like I didn't grow up like that. So when I would go visit my dad, he'd be like, "Oh, can you iron this shirt?" And if it wasn't like he'd be like, "Did you even?" I'm like, "I didn't go to college to learn how to iron. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what to say." So like he's eventually just stopped asking me to do
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Like when my mom's in Mexico, like my dad makes me food. when my mom's in Mexico, like my dad's the one who makes the food, and I'll be like backyard, like getting all the dog poop and like clean outside. It's probably not good, but it's like better than what it was before.
My parents worked a lot of overtime, so my dad would tell us to make sure the house is clean and dinner is at least started so my mom could come and take over. So it's like my pops even ingrained it into us. Like, you guys don't do not wait for a woman to come and clean. You have to be clean. Like, he told us, you have to be clean.
No, yeah. Well, it's funny because I think also like I think it's just like a universal thing because my brother told me a story when he studied abroad in Italy. I think he was like the only Mexican guy, and he was the only one ironing his clothes and like folding it, and everyone was asking him, "Can you? How do you do that?" And these are like, I'm like, this is just so simple things. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
Like, you
like,
went to
you,
study abroad without your mom, and your mom didn't teach you how to do any of this?
It's funny because it's like, I think, yes, you should know the basics of it, but you
Yeah.
should never harp on somebody who's like, I don't find joy in cooking. Manny actually finds joy in cooking. Like, I have family who thinks, oh, every time they're like, oh, I'm like, yeah, Mitch, like, he likes doing it. Why would you want a meal from someone who is doing it against their
That's
will?
true.
I always say you don't know how clean something is unless you cleaned it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I agree with you. Fight the power sister, stay vigilant. If you could choose colors, though, right? Because I think pink and blue are dumb. But if you could have chose the colors,
To associate with,
yeah, would you? What
with
colors would you associate?
that's hard because
I already thought about this. Brown for boys, orange for girls.
orange for girls.
Yeah,
Why?
I don't know because it's like bright and fiery, and you could wear it with like a bunch of different stuff. You could wear it in the winter. I recommend it. You could wear it anytime. Brown, I feel like boys
Brown is a good color for
get
guys.
dirty, and so like
I was
the
thinking clothes.
no, yeah, and so like you can't really see it. Black you can actually see like when you have a stain
Yeah.
and stuff. Brown it kind of blends in. So you
Nicky wants underpants to be brown. That's all I got from that. Um, I actually wanted to ask if
It
you
would make it less noticeable though.
if you could go back and start a trend yourself, like some kind of style trend, and then be able to say, "Hey, I started that." What would it be?
um the only thing I can think about that was like very much my look was like headbands.
The
And
headband.
yeah, but mine were really tiny because like we couldn't like because it was like cheaper to get a whole pack and not like the big ones. So I would have my little tiny like headband. And like right now, like those like bows or ribbons are really popular. I thought it was like because I have like younger friends and they're all telling me like I was thinking about getting my sister some like bows, and I was like, why? Like JoJo Siwa? Like, what do you mean? And then she showed me pictures and I was like, oh wow, these are really cute. I didn't know this was a style.
Um, have you seen? I've just got to ask this before I ask the actual question.
Okay,
Have you seen Grease?
the movie,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
or any. Do you know what that is?
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Do you know the characters?
yeah. I
Do you know what the pink ladies are?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
and you've seen Mean Girls.
yes.
Okay, who wins in a fight? The pink ladies or the mean
The
girls?
pink ladies. They're all talk. They don't actually fight.
actually, I think you're wrong.
What?
I think the little bitches in Mean Girl are actually more dangerous because they play psychological warfare.
Oh,
Pink ladies are gonna shiv you.
for sure. But if we're talking about like physical fight, yes.
Oh yeah. Physical fight, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, then who rules the school?
Mean Girls all the
Yeah.
time, all the time. The pink ladies are afraid of the Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Wait, they're called
No,
the
they're just like
plastics. That's what they're called.
oh yeah. I think the plastics because they're kind of like the president. Like everybody knows them, whereas the pink ladies they're more of like
The misfits.
yeah. And you don't want to
They
like
have no political power.
Norma, thank you so much for being with us. I know we had a lot of tech issues at the beginning, but please let the people know where they can find Blue is for Girls.
yeah. Definitely it's on Amazon, very easy to find, searchable, or Barnes and Noble, online only.
Ooh, and where can everybody find you?
You can find me Instagram at Norma G _ H.
Awesome. And obviously we'll have all that information for you guys like on the screen and then, like in the show notes. You know how it goes. If you guys want to find out what we're up to, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Bubble Bath Stories.
If you want to find me, I'm on Instagram at Got No Time for This.
And you can find me at Nicky Trendz on IG. If you guys are looking for some official merchandise, you can head over to our website, bubblebathstories.co. And if you're looking to talk to us, vent to us, share good news that maybe you can't tell anybody, share bad news you don't know, I don't know, whatever. You guys can give us.
Or tell us about your Thea.
Oh, yes. Tell us about your Thea. You guys can hit us up on our Google Voice number, which is 347 878-1144. If you don't learn this number, we are going to fight. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, bye.